My dad looks a bit like a lost member of the Village People. He's got like a big moustache. So I was a bit worried about some leather daddy trying to touch up my dad on the dance floor. Or worse, my dad trying to touch up some leather daddy on the dance floor. My first Pride memory is the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras in 2001. Now, we do have Pride in Australia, but the main sort of Pride celebration in Sydney happens in February and March when it's summertime. And I remember my first Mardi Gras was just magical. Because normally, like going out in gay bars, you would see people who kind of look like you, with the same gender, the same age, the same colour, same sort of background. But Mardi Gras, there was 18,000 people just all crammed into this one big space, all different shapes and sizes and colours and genders and sexualities. And it was just a magical night of realising how big and diverse our community actually is. Well, I can't tell you my favourite Pride memory. So my second favourite Pride memory would be my mum and dad coming to see me perform at Mardi Gras. We were doing the 4 a.m. show. Now, if there's one place that you probably don't want your parents, it's at Pride at 4 a.m. And my dad looks a bit like a lost member of the Village People. He's got like a big moustache. So I was a bit worried about some leather daddy trying to touch up my dad on the dance floor. Or worse, my dad trying to touch up some leather daddy on the dance floor. But yeah, that was pretty special. For me, Pride is just a concentrated time of celebration. Like, I'm queer 365 days a year, but Pride is that sort of month where we get to focus on our community, on the strengths, on the weaknesses, on those around the world who aren't afforded the same rights as us. But really, we should be doing that the other 11 months of the year as well. But Pride just acts as a reminder, a bit of a flag in the sand to say, hey, don't forget about this stuff. And I think it's important that, Pride isn't just one day. It is 365 days. What advice would I give my younger self? I was so full of shame about my identity that I didn't even know that it was shame. I was just going about my life, living in this world, just had kind of accepted that who I was would always be a second-class citizen, and I'd accepted that and was fine with that. And it wasn't until things started changing in the world. I was living in the US and marriage equality passed, and I just broke down in tears because I never realized what that sort of validation meant to me. I never thought I needed it. I never knew I needed it. But receiving the validation of being seen equally in the eyes of the law in the country that I lived was just monumental. And that's when I realized that marriage equality wasn't about marriage, it was about equality. And as I get older, I realized that who I am, who I've always been, is the person that I should be. I spent so much of my teens and my 20s trying to be who I thought I was supposed to be, trying to be more masculine, trying to be God, I was never good at being straight acting, but trying to be all of the things that I thought I was supposed to be, trying to live up to society's expectations of gender and sexuality, even going down to like what colours I wore. So my advice to my younger self would just be you. Like, take chances, take risks, make mistakes, and enjoy every single moment of it. And just know that whoever you are is correct. You don't need to be validated by anybody outside, but try and find that love for yourself and for your own identity, and know that any shame that anybody else has ever made you feel is only because of ignorance or lack of understanding. The oppression that you face is faced by many, and not just the many who are the same skin color or gender as you. Try and reach out beyond your own sphere and find strength in support and lifting up other people, and know that there's something beautiful in the queer community. We have this rainbow flag that represents us, and that's not just a rainbow of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer and intersex. It's actually a rainbow of how our queer community intersects with so many others: people of colour, women, people with disabilities, people of faith, people of no faith. That's really what the rainbow is all about. The last time I felt lifted by the LGBTQI plus community was early today, actually. I'm writing a book at the moment, a memoir, and I remembered a speech that I heard in 2002 at the Gay Games in Sydney by the Honourable Justice Michael Kirby, who was a judge on the High Court of Australia, which is the highest court of the land, the last court of appeals in Australia, and he's gay. And he spoke at the 2002 Gay Games I was 20 years old, and I remember listening to his words, and I was reduced to tears. I never thought that who I was, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know what my community was. And Justice Michael Kirby's words in that speech, it's about a 12-minute speech, you can find it on YouTube, lifted me up so much that I never even knew that I needed. He spoke of Indigenous Australians, he spoke of women, he spoke of the struggles that we'd overcome and were yet to overcome, and the hope that the future would be more fair and just than the past. And I just sat there today sobbing watching this video to think about how much the world has changed in 18 years, but also how much further we have to go, and how I have been lifted up by the voices and the actions of others. And I hope now that I can, be that for others who are less fortunate in the countries around the world where it's still criminal to be queer, and even in our own communities, where there are people who aren't safe to come out and to be themselves. I think the visibility is so important, and that we continue to fight this struggle for all queer people. Happy Pride.